today I am going to be updating my reading journal, which I guess is also going to be doubling as a mid-year journal flip through. Plus, I figured while I'm doing that, why not go ahead and start brainstorming some ideas about my 2027 reading journal? So yeah, I think this is going to be a fun one. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Tracy and this is my 2026 reading journal, which I have fallen behind when it comes to keeping this updated. So I do need to update this entire journal for the months of May and June. So I'm going to do that with you guys, which is essentially going to be also me doing a flip through. So I figured we can call this a mid-year flip through as well. And because we're going to be going through every page, I figured I will kind of talk about the actual spread and start brainstorming about whether or not that is a spread that I would want to include in my 2027 reading journal. Because yes, I do have some thoughts when it comes to my 2027 reading journal setup, because my setup is probably gonna start, I would say, in the next couple of months. Yes, I start my setups pretty early because I really only do a couple of spreads a month, which means I really need to probably start setting it up sometime in October, if not sooner. All right, so here we go. We're gonna just start from the beginning. So my reading journal for 2026 is an Alice in Wonderland themed reading journal. By the way, this is an 8x8 Archer and Olive notebook. This is the storybook cover. They do have this version on the Archer and Olive website in different colors. I don't think this green is available, but like I said, it's part of the everyday collection. So if you go to the Archer and Olive website, you can click on collections and everyday collection and see the options. They have like a plum color and like a gray blue color or blue gray color. And I do have a discount code for Archer and Olive, which will save you 10%. I will pop that up on the screen. And I do have an affiliate link as well. Super cute book. I use this because it said storybook and, you know, Alice in Wonderland. That's the reason why I chose it. But yeah, I really enjoy doing themed journals, which I will be doing another one in 2027. I'm not going to reveal the theme yet. But yeah, I'm excited about that. Completely different, like I wouldn't even say 180. I would just say 360 from this one. So this was, you know, the intention was to have this be a little bit more of a 3D kind of effect, looking through the keyhole. But I didn't have any of those like little foam stickers at the time. I do now. So if I want to recreate this, I could add the foam stickers, which will give it a little bit more dimension. But I think it's still super cute. So yeah, this is taped on top of another page that has that image on it. And then we have my ratings guide. This is definitely something that I'm going to have in my future reading journals. What I may end up doing is like keeping some space open or maybe putting this on like little cards. So that way, if I change my thoughts on my rating guide at any point throughout the year, then I can just update that, because that could, you know, potentially happen. It probably should happen this year because I've been all over the place with how I think about what a 5-star is or a 4.5 star is in particular. I did create these little pages in here in case I either wanted to change my guide or if I wanted to add to it, such as like a spice rating or something of that nature. I don't know why I put so many pieces of paper in here, but I did. I just really wanted to include a cute little pocket. That was probably the reason. But yeah, this will in some way, shape, or form be in my 2027 reading journal. Like I said, whether I give it its own page, I don't know. It might just be a little, you know, I might make a pocket with a little piece of paper in it. And then it brings me to my reading goals, which, you know, I like having this up front, but I'm not 100% sure if I really care about reaching my reading goals. So if I really don't care about reaching my reading goals, why do I put them in here? I think I put them in here because everybody else does, if I'm being completely honest. But, you know, I am definitely a mood reader. I will say right now, I read 3 books in the month of May, and I think I read like 6 in the month of June. So like I'm all over the place when it comes to the number of books I read and things like that. You know, I did want to prioritize books that I own, and I've read 4. I don't think I've actually read the book on my shelf. I read like the audio. I mean, I read the like ebook version or listened to the audio version, but I still got through them to see if they were, you know, worthy to stay on my shelf or if I needed to destash them. So that's a priority. I did have, you know, finished 6 series, but a lot of times that's out of my control because I'm reading a lot of series that I'm in that have not been finished yet. So I really can't finish the series. Maybe I could say, you know, catch up on, you know, 6 series. I don't know. And then complete 4 challenges or readathons. We will get through that. Again, that's really not a goal that I really care about either. I do them for fun, and I do them to help me with my TBR, to help narrow down my TBR, if I'm being completely honest. So yeah, when it comes to reading goals, thinking about 2027, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to have reading goals in 2027. With that said, I do like this. So I don't know if I would just change it to be like reading tracker, because I know this is what people would say like their Goodreads goal is or whatever. So maybe I'll just do something like that. Maybe I don't even have to title it. I'll just say number of books read, and then just have either squares, circles, or whatever that I can come in and color in, or in this, you know, case, put in little dots. And the reason why I like this, because I can, you know, have this on my reading log or whatever, you know, there, is I like it for this, which has nothing to do with my goals. This is another tracker. So this is doubling more as a tracker, and it's the tracker that I want in my 2027 journal. So basically, I just want to kind of compare or get an overall view of how many books I'm getting from the library and how many good books I'm getting from like paid services. And then I'm breaking that down also by format. So that is what I like to see. I will say these colors don't really differ too much, so it's not as like obvious as I would like it. So I do think for next year, when I do something like this, I would want it to be a little bit more of a color variation so I can quickly see what is what without having to be like, oh, okay, I think that's a green. So that must be ebook that I got from Kindle Unlimited or something like that. All right. So I could not find my little book where I had all of these little dots already pulled out. So I'm going to have to use some of these. I have another one. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead, update this really quick, and then we'll move on to the next page. All right, there we go. So you can see the vast color variation here. Obviously, Kindle Unlimited is still on top, but I've actually read quite a few library books. So yeah, I do need to figure out by the 1st of next year how I would want to color this in. But like I said, this is coming back. It just might not be an actual reading goal. It just might be a tracker or like number of books I read or whatever. I might just call it, you know, format tracker. That might just be what I call it, and then just be done with that. So this is my gallery wall. Now, when I first started doing my reading journals a few years ago, which by the way, all of my reading journal setup videos, including the ones that I did from the beginning of the year through each monthly setup and all that stuff, are all in one convenient playlist. It is my reading journal playlist. I will have it linked down below. So I'll be referring to some past journals as well as I talk through this. So for the past 2 years, I have designed a gallery wall. This is what I'll call it. So this is also kind of like the books I read and keeping track of it as well as with my ratings. I designed this in Canva. So I did a background in Canva, try to merge it together so that way I can print 2 pages and put them together. I put all of the actual frames on top of the background, and then I actually added the stars also on top of the background, and then I just printed it. So everything was already done for me, and I just put it in the book. This image and this image are actual stickers that I put on top of it. So that is how I did it. So you can see it without the actual book covers. And then I kind of wrote things in here, the numbers in here, because I forget where I left off, and sometimes it's easier for me to count. So yeah, that's the reason why I did that. Previous to doing it like this in Canva, I just stuck covers on a page just so I could see it, because I really do like the way it looks of just seeing every book that you read and all of the covers, plus the star ratings. So like I could do it as just a written log, but I like this look better, even though I fall way behind when it comes to the setup. But because I like this aesthetically and it doesn't technically track anything, you're probably like, am I going to include it next year? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Like I said, I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's pretty. And it is something that I like to look back through when I'm flipping through. So I got to figure out which of all the little ones that I printed are for this actual gallery wall. I will say the one change I am definitely going to be making when it comes to 2027 is I'm going to try my hardest to only have a couple of different sizes that I need to print these covers off in, because right now it's like I have like 4 different sizes and it's just driving me completely crazy, especially when I'm sitting here and be like, which ones were for this? So I'm going to figure that out, and I'm going to put all the covers down, because yeah, I've somehow mixed everything up again. The first book that I read was Smoke and Scars, so that's where I need to start. So I'm not doing a good job of trimming these, and it's cutting over my frames, because these frames are also different sizes, which means even though I've decided on a common size that I want to print all of the books for my gallery wall, some of them fit in the frames better than the others. And yeah, it hides some of the pretty frames. So next year, I think I'm also just going to pick one frame and go with it, and that'll be the one frame on the wall. Yeah, sometimes being a little, decorative is, while it's pretty, it just makes it hard when you come in to like fill in the book. So yeah, I think I'm gonna just go with one frame next year. Like I said, I'm gonna do it again in Canva, so it'll be simple as far as the setup, and then maybe I'll just print book covers off like I did now, like every couple of months or every quarter or what have you. All right, so there we go. I'm up to book 34. Yay. Go me. So right now we're going to be nowhere near 80. Probably nowhere near 75. Okay, here is the other one. This is my genre shelfie. This one, I was kind of thinking, do I want this in 2027? And I'm like, I really like setting it up at the beginning of the year. It's fun. Now I did draw the actual bookshelf, which was simple. Again, everything on the back is part of a Canva image, everything, even the books, I put stuff, again, I did a background, same background. I just found like a wood background where it looks like there was some spiraling in Canva. And then I just put images on top of it. I put some books, and this is my key. So I put color around the books. So that way, like this one is a romance. So if I read a romance, I'm going to use that color to highlight it in and things of that nature. So yeah, like I said, this again is another way to see the books that I read, but again, it's also a tracker to see the different genres that I'm reading. So I think I'm going to stick with this, even though it's probably not one of my favorites to fill in, if I'm being honest. But I still think I'm going to keep with it. I think it is something that, again, another thing that I like to look back at after it's all said and done. So I think it's worth the pain of getting out my colors, testing the colors every single time to make sure it's the right one. Maybe next year's the year I'll finally label it, so I don't have to do that. Yeah, and then that'll be that. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be making an appearance. I probably will do it by, like, I don't want to say by hand. I'll probably use stickers in combination with probably drawing my bookshelf again. Again, I'll do that on camera so you can kind of see the process. It's just for the Alice in Wonderland, I wanted to look like she was falling, and that was going to be too hard for me to do with stickers. So that's why I just did the background on Canva. But again, y'all, Canva can be your friend, but a lot of times you do need Canva Pro. So yeah, for the books that I read, I have to actually figure out the genres. I do have them in the back. We'll talk about my review section later. That'll be a little bit of a discussion. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to stick a little piece of paper right here so I can get back to this. And I'm going to go ahead and color in the genres, and then I'm going to go back and write over top of it the titles of the books. So I have Romantasy, 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 Romantasy. So 4, 6. So I have 6 Romantasies in a row. So this is the Romantasy color. And I'm just going in order. Obviously, if you read a lot of the same genres with an occasional, different genre thrown in like I do, you might want to just randomly color books. That might be something that I do next year. I think at this point, because I'm like keeping it all together, I think I'm going to just go ahead and keep it all together. I think it would look weird to have this all full and then start over here at this point. So yeah, next year, I think that will be one change that I make if I can remember. I probably won't remember. You guys might have to remind me. But I do think it'll be kind of cool because I'm not really just tracking on this one. I'm not tracking the number of books, so I don't really need to put them 1, 2, 3. I can put them wherever I want just to see if there's a little bit more color variation on the shelf. Because again, I'm just kind of like looking at a glance and be like, wow, that's an overwhelming number of oranges, which of course is Romantasy. So that is why there is. But I have been getting into a lot of dystopian books. I'm assuming because it's such a hot genre right now that there's going to be more and more dystopian books that are going to come out. So I have a feeling that probably next year might be a little bit more of a blend. We'll see. Maybe I just need to start changing things up. Probably not. So a dystopian, Romantasy, Romantasy, dystopian. So 1 dystopian, then 2 Romantasies and another dystopian. So dystopian, Romantasy, Romantasy. And then the dystopian is this green, which I did put the number on that. So when it's a tombow, I can easily do that. But for the other ones, I can't. And I do like the way it looks. So yes, this has pretty much made me decide that this is definitely going to be coming with me in 2027. Like I said, as far as the setup, it's a fun setup at the beginning of the year. And really, if I just do this a couple of months at a time, it's really not that hard. I think next year I'm going to try to stick to colors that have numbers on them. So my Tombows, and I do have another brand that also has numbers on them. So maybe that's what I would do to make my life a little bit easier. I did color in an extra one, but fortunately for me, there is another dystopian book that is on my TBR that if for some reason I don't get to it this month, I will likely get to it the following month. So this one will be read at some point. It just might not be in the correct order, but that's fine. That's fine. I don't want to like cover it up. If I was to cover it up, what I would do is like take a piece of dot grid that I've already cut and literally just put it like this, or I could even use sticker paper. But right now, because I know that there's going to be one that I'm planning on reading, I'm just going to leave it. So yeah, that is my genre shelfie. I do think it's fun to track genres. It would probably be more fun if I read more of a variety of genres. Now we have our series tracker, and I already see a mistake. I have not read book 7 of Throne of Glass. I read book 5, so I was supposed to color in that one, which means I'm just really gonna have to finish this series, guys. This is one of my goals, is to finish this series. Like I said, I'm already through 5, but 6 and 7 are beast of books. They're huge, so I don't even know if I'm going to be finishing it. I almost feel like, is this my sticker paper? I almost feel like I need to just cover this up. I think I'm going to cover this up just in case. I know I still have 5 more months left, but y'all, when I say I'm a mood reader, I am a mood reader. And, Throne of Glass, I own the books, so I can just go on my shelf and pick it up. I just do not like reading physical books, y'all. I just do not like reading it. I read them really slow just because I don't like holding them in my hand. I know so many people love the feel of a book in their hand. I just like an ebook in my hand. I like the compactness of it, and I like the fact that I don't have to actually flip the page. I even have a remote that flips the page for me. I just click the little remote. I really don't do that when I'm laying in bed, but every once in a while, like in the wintertime, I do when I'm like underneath the covers and I'm like, it's cold if I lift my arm out of the covers. So yeah, I'll just do that. All right, maybe I'll take the sticker paper off once I actually get to this. So for 2026, I don't know where that Tombow is. Is it this one? See what I mean? I need to only use ones that have colors on it. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and color in number 5 now. Okay. All right. So this one I'm hoping to finish book 3, hopefully. So this one, and this one will probably be the only 3 I finish. I already DNF'd one, and I already finished one earlier this year. I will say I'm not going to continue with having one of these in my journal in 2027. Mainly because I have a separate book that I track my series in, and then I do series reviews in that book. So what I may do is if I do like a TBR type page or spread in my reading journal, I might put like the next book or maybe like the final book of that series in there as part of my TBR, which will hopefully encourage me to read all the books that is before that one. So that might be a way that I can include some series into my reading journal next year without having a separate dedicated series tracker. The other reason is because I'm in the middle of so many series. I keep reading books that intrigue me, and then they're book 1 of 3 or book 1 of 4, and book 2 hasn't even come out yet. So that is another reason why I'm not going to be doing the series trackers. However, I do want to quickly mention that I did mine a little bit different. A lot of people will write the title of the series down. I did that. And I was like, what series is that? I don't know. And I would have to type it into Amazon to see what book popped up. So for me, I thought it was easier to put the cover of the very first book. It just made my life a lot easier to figure out what series I was in the middle of. So I do recommend that if you wanted to use book covers, to possibly do like the cover of the first book, unless you wanted to put all the books on there. To me, it kind of helps it stand out a little bit than just the title of the actual series, because like A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly, I don't remember the series title, but it's not that. And if I saw that, I'd be like, what? So yeah. So this is like a TBR. I did 26 and 26. Will I do 27 and 27, guys? I don't know. I really don't know. This is one that is so up in the air right now. I think 27 and 27 is going to be a bit much. I think what I would do is I would move some of these books that, I don't read over to that one. But other than that, I think it's just too many. I think it's too many. I know some people would do 20 and 27, but again, it's 20 too much. So I would like to have something like this in some shape or form, but I don't know how. Is it just going to be 12, maybe 12? So that way I can pick a TBR, like one book that's on my TBR every month to read. So that sounds like a good option. And then my other idea is maybe combine it with a new release list, which I do not have in my journal currently at all. And I would just put like the month, and it would fit up one page because I'm not going to be tracking all new releases. I'm just going to be tracking the ones, usually series that I'm in the middle of when the next book comes out. That's all I will be tracking on there. So that will essentially kind of make my, if I do a top 12 and my TBR, that would essentially kind of expand on that. So that's kind of, now that I said that out loud, I think that is what I'm leaning toward. Let me update this. I've read Metal Slinger. I've read Broken Dove. That one was, I think I gave it 5 stars, but after reading Beneath, I almost want to knock that one down. So I have to double check and see if it was 5 stars or 4.75. I think I gave it 5 stars. I'm going to give it 5 stars. I just read so many blah books before that, that, it was like, that was great. It was great. It's just, was it 5-star worthy or 4.5-star worthy? I'm not sure. Metal Slinger, I know I gave that one, I think 4.25. Can remember that one because I just finished those. Finley Donovan, 4-star. So much fun. That's all about funness. And I think that is it. I don't think I read anything else. I could be like missing something, but I don't think I am. So there we go. Getting through some things here, I'm proud of that. As a mood reader, I'm actually proud of this. So like I said, this will be here in some shape or form. This one, I do have to update y'all. I have Broken Dove. I am trying to be a little bit more generous. Oh my gosh, I have a comment to make in a minute. But I'm trying to be a little bit more generous with my 5 stars. And it's just not happening. So we only have 3. And the comment I want to make is all of these are dystopian. Maybe I'm reading too much fantasy that when I get to a dystopian, I'm like, whoa. And it becomes like so much better to me than it might have been otherwise, just because it's a different kind of genre, even though some of them have fantasy elements in them. But yeah, Broken Dove and Beneath are my other 2 5-star reads. I have to go back through my DNFs because I think I do have another DNF that I need to put in here, but I can't really think of it at the moment. Speaking of which, I do think, even though I don't have as many 5 stars or DNFs, I do think I want places for this in my journal. You can see I went really simple with the setup. I just printed some images that I got from Creative Fabrica and stuck them on the page. I think I will probably do something similar maybe next year. We'll see. But yeah, I want this in here for a couple of reasons. One, I don't rate a lot of books 5 stars. Usually something is missing. So like my highest rating will be 4.75 or usually 4.5 on a lot of really good books. But with that said, if I do give a 5 star, I do want to kind of shout it out on its own page. So that is why I'm doing that. And I feel like maybe at the end of the year, like let's say 2027, I don't get very many 5 stars, then maybe I'll have like a little section and do 4.75s or something like that to kind of fill in the space and kind of give a shout out to those that were almost 5 stars. DNFs is another one that I feel like I need to have somewhere. And that is because it's not captured like as part of my statistics. I mean, I do have like my monthly statistics. I do capture like one book, DNF or whatever. But I mean like the pages that I read or anything like that, it's not captured anywhere. So it's not calculated as part of my monthly stats, like the pages read or the audio listened to. And I might DNF something at 70%. So that is why I kind of want to also, I don't want to say give it a shout out, but I also want to capture that on one page. The thing I want to add that I didn't do this year is I would like to put something on here about how many pages I read or the percentage that I got through before DNFing it. Because if it is a true DNF, I've usually gone through over 10% of the book. For a soft DNF, it could be at any point. Those are not going to go on here. Soft DNF is a book that I'm just not currently in the mood to read. So that won't go in here. But the true DNFs that I don't think I'm going to come back to, that will go on here. And even if it's just 1 or 2, I still want to capture that somewhere. If it's none, then it was a great year, right? All right, best of the best. So I have Dire Bound. I think this is the one where I have to find the small ones. Broken Dove. And I can say July. If anything tops Beneath, I don't know what it is. Okay, so Dire Bound and Broken Dove. And I will say, when it comes to picking my winner from April, May, or June, Rose and Chains is still in my mind. And that was not a 5 star. I think that was like another 4.5, 4.75. This was a 5 star. So I'm going to go ahead and give it the 5 star. I mean, the winner. But I would say it's like neck and neck with Rose and Chains. So is this going to be making an appearance in my journal in 2027? This one, I don't think so. I don't think so. This one, it just hasn't been giving me joy. When I finish with it, I'm just kind of like, whatever. I don't really care what book I like, for the quarter, what my favorite book of the quarter was. Because, in the month of May, I read 3 books. I think that's the lowest reading that I've done is 3 books. I don't think there's been any months where I read 2, but what happens when I read 2? What if my favorite book is a 3 star, So that's a reason why I think I'm going to stop doing this. With that said, I do want to capture my favorite books somewhere. So I think what I'm going to do is I may do just a page that either has my favorite book of the month on it. So that might be something that I just do. So instead of having a battle, just have one page where I just put the cover for my favorite book. Maybe I'll do my favorite book and honorable mention, but again, I don't want to put pressure on that because again, if it's a 3-book month, then I'm forced to not only choose one book, now I'm forced to choose 2. So I think that might be too much. The other thing that I am contemplating is doing something special for my favorite book in the actual monthly section. So we'll get to that when we get to that one, but that's how I'm going to capture that. So I am going to be doing away with the book bracket. Or the battle of the books. I know some people do a like matrix type thing, which I'm not going to try to explain because I'll just completely butcher it, but you can probably look up book matrix or something like that on YouTube or Google, and I'm sure it will explain it like that. But it's basically where like your one book kind of competes against other books. So maybe your second favorite book somehow ends up on the matrix from the same month. So you might have 2 books from the same month. Maybe that's how it works. Again, I'm probably not getting that right. So there we go. I do have a space left for superlatives or quotes or something else. I do like the idea of superlatives. I won't know if I really enjoy it until the end of the year because that's when I would do that. So challenges. Now we get to the fun sections, or at least I think it's fun. I really enjoy my challenges. I think for me as a mood reader and someone that every time I see a book, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to add that to my TBR. That sounds great. I do need a way to narrow that down, and challenges really help me narrow it down because of the prompts. So on the cover page, you see I have 2 blank things here. I'm going to fill this in at the end of the year. The one thing I'm definitely going to do is write my monthly readathons on here because they're captured in the monthly sections and not on the challenge section. So I do want to highlight those on here. And then my other thought was on the other one, I will kind of give myself like list the annual challenges and then say like 7 of 12. So if I completed 7 of 12 of the prompts, then I'll put that on there or whatever. So that's my thought process. I would like to have something like this probably also in my 2027 because I do think it's cool to have like all of your stats and tallies here before you actually get to, or even after, but somewhere as like a summary of the challenges that I do. And then that leads me to my challenge section. So this one is super easy because I'm not doing book covers. I'm just kind of sitting here and writing my prompts. I have some dice. I rolled the dice. I created this myself. So this entire Monopoly board was something that I created myself. It was a lot of fun to make. However, I do not think I will be doing my own challenge this year. It's just been a lot. Even with this additional one, I think there was 5 that I was doing in 2026. So with me not doing my own challenge that I'll create, whether it be Bookopoly or something else, that'll at least knock it down to 4, which will make it a little bit more manageable. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to do this. Now, this is the year of Goober. I love the way this is set up because for their theme, Ghosty is learning to bake. So like every time you do it, like read something, you get like, it's like what he has learned to make. So that's why I kind of did the cafe theme. Don't think I'm going to do it theme wise next year, but I'm obviously want to keep with this challenge. I'm pretty sure it'll continue. If not, I'll throw something else in its place. But yeah, this is something that's been fun. It's really, really easy to do. So I don't see a reason why I wouldn't do it. So I'm going to go ahead and put my prompts in here for the Goober. So wait a minute. Yeah. See, I wrote the books in here. So that way I would know what covers to put because I'm so far behind. All right. So we have Death Made Prince. And then that one for May was a genre blend. So now I'm going to write the prompt because there were 2 prompts. That's the reason why the prompt isn't already on here. Okay. And then for June, it was Quicksilver. I think this was pages. I think the prompt had to do with pages. Yep. More than 300 pages. I think it was like 500 pages. I think I wrote that down wrong or typed that up wrong. All right, so now this is all updated. So yeah, basically all of the challenges that I'm going to be sharing with you, minus the Bookopoly one that I created, I hope to continue in 2027. My guess is I might just do 1 page per challenge. So Year of Goober just be on 1 page versus 2. I think I'll just keep it a little simple next year, as far as like the decor and stuff like that. We'll see. Time. We have time. Okay, so this is another one that is Death Made Prints. I have a feeling I'm pulling from ones that I'm going to need. So this was the reason why I read Death Made Prints, and then I ended up using it for a prompt for Goober. Because I didn't read very many, but this was a form of the word make. And made is a form of the word make. It's past tense. 1 word title, Quicksilver. Fortunately, there is no space in there, so I was able to do that one as my 1 word title. So I'm back on track. After skipping 2 months, I'm back on track. And then for this one, Smoke and Scar, it's border or frame. There is a border going around the entire cover that I did not do a good job cutting. And then wings, on Wings of Blood, because wings is that one. Wings on the cover. This has wings with the dragon, plus it actually has it in the word. And then Metallic Element, I'm going to go ahead and add that one. Veiled Court is that one. It had, the title is gold and it has some other gold on there. We're just going to go ahead and call that one there. I read that one in July. Okay, and Adventures in Aldea. I've been really bad with this one. But I didn't do River in the title for April, but for May, I did a book from a series. Fury Bound was in June. Okay, that was over. Okay, so we'll put Fury Bound here. This needs to be Dire Bound. I have an extra one. I don't know if I'm taking it from something else. I think I'm taking it from something else. But that's okay. We're going to put this here. Okay, there we go. So I'm better there now too. I'm not going to do a Romantasy bingo next year. I don't want to say no, because my intention was not to do a bingo this year, but then I saw this one. So what I am going to do is, it's probably going to be sometime in the 4th quarter. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to find books that fit these prompts. And the reason why I want to wait until the 4th quarter is because my guess is most of these, being I'm a Romantasy fan and now I'm 34 books in, most of these are probably already filled in. You know, like urban setting. I think I've read a book with that. You know, a friend rec, book talk hype. There's probably like 8 books that are book talk hype. But the book that I choose for this one, I want it to be a book that really doesn't fit in too many of the other prompts. So I wanted to kind of make it where it's going to be easy for me. That is why I'm going to go ahead, sit down in the 4th quarter, and then fill this in. But because of that, and because I'm not actually referring to this to pick my TBR, again, I think this is going to be something that is not going to be making an appearance in 2027. So monthly stats and recaps, this will definitely be making an appearance. I absolutely love this page. I'm trying to see, yes. I think it's fun. I do have to like brainstorm what stats I want to capture. With that said, I do love these stats. So I will just kind of go through them really quick as I write everything down. So like for the month of May, I read 3 total books. Wait a minute. I did start a book. I did start a book at the end of the month. So I'm going to put 1 for continue. So it's one that I start, but I didn't read enough to actually count it for that month. So it's going to be counted in the next month, but I want to give myself credit for that. I did not DNF any books. So you can see I've DNF'd 2, 3, 4 books. So I need to figure out what those other 3 books are and put them, print out those covers. All 3 of the books that I read were ebooks. So I'm going to do this. And then that means I didn't read any audio and no physical. Series. I read all 3 books are part of a series. They were all 3 or more books, so no and no for those. My reading days, I don't have that yet. For my average time to finish, 9 days. Pages, 1,692 hours listened. I didn't listen to any audio, and my average rating for the month was 4.08. So those are me telling you what I did for the month of May. That kind of tells you the stats that I'm tracking. I think these are stats that I like to track. So this is something that I am thinking about continuing into 2027, likely with the same stats. I don't know if I'm going to add anything additional. I think this is a good mix, and it's kind of, focused on the types of stuff that I read. So like the fact that I have a series and a duo on here. So yeah, I like this. And a lot of this, actually, I'm able to get the stats from StoryGraph. So I don't even have to calculate a lot of this stuff in my head. So for the month of June, I actually did 6 books. I don't think I continued any. Let me just double check. No, I took a pretty big break. I took like a 3-day break. So I didn't continue any. I didn't DNF any. 3 of them were ebooks and 3 were audio, y'all. I went on vacation, that's why. 6 were from a series. Can't do days read yet. 8, it's an average to finish is 8 days to finish a book. That again is from StoryGraph. I did 1738. And I did 50 hours of audiobooks. And my average rating was a 4.0. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to pull out my calculator. I had not done this in my previous years where I had like a mid-year tally, but I think it's kind of cool. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and add everything up for the mid-year. Something's not adding up here, but whatever. Yeah, something's not adding up here. 3, 4. This one's messed up. That one's not right. We're going to have to fix that one. I think what I wanted to do, I think probably what I did as part of that one, I don't know what I did there. That completely messed me up. So it's 1, 2. I've read 8 books, so we're going to say 6 was part of a series. I can probably double check that really quick. My stats are off. So that's a duology. Series 1, 2, that's the problem right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So what I did when I counted this is I read a couple of books. So like the Wolf King, I read both the Wolf King and the Night Prince. So I only counted that as one. It's like one series that I read. But I think what I want to do is how many books did I read that were part of a series. So that's what I did for the other months. So that's what I kind of want to do. I want to account for all of the books. So that's 27. I have to actually calculate that myself. Then we're going to do 4. And my average rating is 4.1. There we go. So yeah, I love this. This page definitely coming with me. Yeah. Enough said. Okay, now we're going to quickly do a quick flip through of my monthly pages, and I'm going to kind of chat as I'm going through it. So what I love having a dedicated cover page that has nothing else on it. I think it allows me to kind of set up the theme that I'm going to be doing for the entire month, as far as the decorative stickers or whatever. So that's why I like that. So I kind of want to continue that into the new year. Not sure if I'm going to do a TBR. I don't think I'm going to do one this elaborate or this big. I think I might just like write it small or something like that, or maybe not include it at all. This is how I keep track of the number of days that I read. What is in here? I am 1 entire week behind. I am filming this on the 12th. So I need to come in and fill in for the whole week. I usually like to stay on top of that, but I can go back and look at my regular planner to kind of see what happened on what days. But I like to put what books I read on what days and what shows I watched and things like that. This is what I use to fill out my calendar. That way I don't have to come into this particular journal multiple times to put in what days I read what books. I just like to keep a track of the days that I'm reading. And I currently I put my Kindle on airplane mode because I think Goodreads might keep track of that or something. I think your Kindle could, like every time like you log in. But one time, I got a notification from Amazon that there was suspicious activity on my account. I don't know of any suspicious activity. I had like no kind of weird stuff on it, but they locked my account and they needed like verification of who I am before they could unlock the account. So I had to like email them verification and all this kind of crazy stuff. When they locked my account, it locked my Kindle. And when it locked my Kindle, I couldn't even access library books. Like I could not get into my Kindle at all. So that is that's a word of warning for you guys. If you have an Amazon Kindle, that if for some reason your account gets locked temporarily, you cannot even access your library books. Now I know there's been something going on where they said like even books that you purchase on Amazon, those could disappear and things like that. Like you don't technically own them. So I wasn't really expecting any Amazon purchases and especially my Kindle Unlimited to show up, but I thought I could still use my Kindle and read library books. So that really annoyed me when that happened. But I just kind of want to give that as a public service announcement. So I keep my Kindle on airplane mode because of that. Plus it probably preserved battery life and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I do. So basically I have to manually calculate when I'm reading. So basically what I do is I write down the books that I'm reading. I give it a color code here, and then I just put dots when I read. The X's I do at the end of the month on the days that I didn't read. So that way it's kind of easy. I could just say 31 minus 3 instead of going 1, 2, 3. So that's what I did there. I really like doing pie charts for stats instead of just writing in the stats. I just think, again, I'm a visual person. So this is another visual. So this is something that I think I would want to continue. This is also something that I think I would want to continue in some capacity. I don't know if it has to be this big. I did purchase a stamp. I don't know how big the stamp is going to be because, I purchased it on Amazon, but it has a month estimated delivery date. So if I get it, we'll see what it looks like. I think it's going to be fairly small. But those are small dots. So, and I could also just color in the space too. So I might not even need this much room for that. So we'll see. We'll play with it this year to see how it'll work next year. Like I said, now as far as this goes, I do like my pie charts. So yeah, that is definitely going to be something that stays. And then I keep other stats here. These stats are taken from here. Actually, these stats are taken from here. Usually I fill this in first and then go back in here and fill that in. However, I do break apart my series and duologies a step further here. I want to know how many new series I started and how many I finished. So this is not the total number of books that I read that were part of a series. Now that I'm thinking about it, that might need to be a new category. I think that would be kind of cool to have at the top. But then like new, continued, and finished, I think are really cool to kind of put in there. That's why this number does not equal the 6 books that I read that was part of a series. And then a duology, new, and then, finish is only one I need for there, and standalone is just one. And then over here, what I did is, I borrowed this idea from, is it Bibliophile by Night or something like that, on Instagram. I love how she had favorites. She has a lot of different categories, but I did favorites and least favorites and honorable mentions. But then I added most anticipated, my quickest read, and my slowest read. So it's not the most pages and least pages. It's the one I read the fastest and the one that took me the longest to read. I'm more interested in that one. You can see when I did least favorite, it wasn't that it was my least favorite. It was the most disappointing. I think there might have been something that was even rated lower than that, but this was just so disappointing to me. I felt like it needed to be highlighted. And then I had space left over, so I just kind of did a collage. Now let's quickly kind of talk about my thoughts. I kind of talked about some of my thoughts for my monthly, but I've been thinking a lot about how I would want to do this next year. And I can't really incorporate it this year because I only saved enough pages to get me like 3 double page spreads or 6 pages until it starts my series reviews. We're jumping ahead, but we will do a full flip through. But I said this is also a brainstorming. So here are my series reviews. After Finley Donovan, nada. I am going to put covers on here. I'll just do that off camera. You guys could care less now. But yeah, so that is what is going on right now. I just do not come in here and update this. I have now created a book review journal, which is a lot less pressure, believe it or not, because I only go in and do book reviews on the books that I feel like it. And it has nothing to do with star ratings. Sometimes I just really want to talk about a book. So therefore, I will create a fancy spread and do a review. Where is the book? Let me just show you. Now, I haven't done very many reviews. So like I said, there's no pressure. But sometimes I just want to talk about a book. So that's what happens. See, I did some reading list in here. So this is going to be one place where all of my books that I read will be in here. I have not updated 2026 since that one. I will do that again on my own time. Still need to go back in and do this. But I can do these fun little spreads. Stop there. Whenever I feel like it. It's like sometimes inspiration hits and I just want to do something decorative. I'm inspired by the book about something decorative. But again, sometimes I just want to write about the book. I will do that in here. I just don't keep up with doing book reviews, even though I didn't even keep that much space for them. I just don't do it. And then I feel like if I don't do it right away, and it's not like I do it on Storygraph, so I can't go back and just copy what I wrote there. I'm just going to forget what my impressions were when I read the book. And it's kind of pointless at that point. So I do think I'm going to get rid of this. However, I do like this and this. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to have some variation of this, have something like this. I'm going to do away with this. This will be here if I ever need space. This is always a good option. But instead of doing this, I'm going to put book covers for all of the books I read. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start incorporating this here now. So I'm going to put the book cover. I think I'm going to put this information here because this information helps me when I go to do my stats. So I do like to have it in written form versus just on my phone because today I had to do it like this. So I have to do it somewhere anyway. So I'd rather have it in my journal. So I'll still put like maybe do like little boxes, like little rectangles, put like a book cover here, probably the same size as the gallery wall, and then write a little bit about the book. And then I still might do categories like this, but I will note it with the actual book. So if that one book, let's see, none of these have it, but let's say Daggermouth was also the most anticipated and was also my quickest read. So it fit like 3 of the prompts. Or I don't want to call it prompts, but you know what I'm saying. Then when I had Daggermouth here, I would list it right there. So I think that's how I'm going to do it. And then for my favorite book, I want to actually do a review of that book if I feel like it, right? So because I'm going to be adding like the facts about all the books that I read, so I'm going to be putting things in here about what I read, I think instead of setting up all of these pages at the very beginning of the month, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it after the month is over. So in February, at the very beginning of February, I will come in and I would do my January setup. With that said, if there's a readathon, I may go ahead and do the cover page and then do a few readathon pages as well, and then get into this after. So like my readathon pages, so I might do a cover page, reserve this for something, and then do my readathon pages, and then come in and do my stats or something like that, because I do like to set up for the readathon in advance of the month. So I can kind of go ahead. I do need to map out a TBR for that, and I would like to go ahead and do that in my reading journal. So it's going to complicate things. I still need to think this through, but I do think doing a setup at the beginning of the following month would work better. So again, doing January setup at the beginning of February would work a little bit better, because then I don't have to come in here, set it up at one point, and then 30 days later come in and add in all the stats. You know what I'm saying? I can do it all at once. That way I'm not creating too many of these, which you'll see for this month. I think I did. I'm only creating the ones I actually want to capture, because if it's just going to be a half instead of like 3 different categories, I don't really know that I want to capture a half. I think I would rather have at least 3 categories, like even here. So we'll see. But that's my thought. So with that said and all that chatting done, let's go ahead and start flipping through the rest of this. And you will see my struggles with coming in and updating some of this. This, I didn't even color in the ones that I read. Did I do that for February? Yeah, I did that for February. But I did not color in the books that I read for March. So I still got to come in and do this. Look, I still didn't color that in. So at March, I did not update, guys. I did not update March. I did update April, so I skipped March for some reason. This is one of my favorites. See, very simplistic. Did this also in Canva. I got this from Creative Fabrica, put it into Canva, and then wrote that on top of it and just printed it. But yeah, here we go. Here you can kind of see this was a little bit more simplistic. And then here's May. I still have to update this. So for May, I read these 3 books. I did not read those 2 books. But see, I put new releases here. So I think I want a page to have that on there, because this was helpful for me to kind of figure out what I wanted to read. And then I do need to update this. I'm just going to do that off camera. I've printed everything out. I have everything ready to go. I'm just going to do it off camera. And then here's June. So again, I need to come in and color code for that one. I need to fill in all of my reads. I read 6 books, so I hope this is enough room. And then I also have everything for that. This kind of came up, so I need some. My glue is not very great, guys. And I have some like good glue, or supposedly good glue. I'll do it off camera. But yeah, this is June. And then this is July. Obviously, this isn't set up because I'll do this at the end of the month. But look, y'all, I kept things very simple. I did a 4-page spread for June and July. So yeah, things are going to change with the way I do my monthlies, I think. Obviously, because I'm thinking about doing it after the fact, I wouldn't even set up my first monthly pages until February. So I have a lot of time to figure that out. But that's just some of my thoughts. I kind of wanted to go ahead and, you know, give you my thoughts, because some people might just start their reading journal whenever they feel like it. So you might be starting a brand new reading journal soon. And I felt like if I gave you kind of my takeaways from my 2026, I might give you some ideas. So that's why I kind of wanted to add this little brainstorming piece in here as well. So there we go, guys. So yeah, I still have a lot of little book covers that I need to put in here. I need to put them in my reading review pages and for the month of April and May, but you guys don't care about that. So we're going to go ahead and end this video now, but I do hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this chat and kind of evaluating my journal as well as the flip through. All right, guys, if you enjoyed it, press that like button. If you have yet to subscribe, I hope you would also consider subscribing. That is all I have for now. I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. And until next time, bye.